What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to rank the top 10 Gunpla kits of 2024 that I've reviewed, with a year of, Having had a year full of seed kits, sadly single guys like me have nobody to gift them to. Luckily, there are also some others in the mix to keep the catalog fresh. So without further ado, here are the rules. I have to have built them, premium is allowed, it should be released in 2024, and only Bandai Gunpla will be considered, despite my diverse range of kits that I've reviewed throughout the, well, 1.5 years. I'm scrapping the 2 per series rule because it just seems a bit redundant in hindsight, so if any series dominates the list, then so be it. The rest who come close will be mentioned in, well, honorable mentions. With that said, let's get into the list. Starting at number 10, we have the high-grade Bagheera Bone Torch. Yes, it's fundamentally a mold from 2022 that still carries over the dull color inaccuracies, but for what it's worth, the new features turn the original Bagheera Bone mold into a fun and unique ground-type mobile suit. The grassly structure is getting very monotonous at this point since they're all the same at their core, but that only means the positives of the mold were carried over onto the Torch, making it mostly sturdy and very pulsable despite all the extra bulk. Admittedly, the weapons themselves are pretty generic, but with it offering a refreshing and entertaining take on a solid frame that is getting quite stale, I'm fairly confident in putting the Burger Blow Torch as number 10. At number 9, we have the high-grade Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam. Owing to it being a brand new mold that captures the original design language and an improvement from the original high-grade Cosmic Era Strike Freedom, the Mighty is definitely a step up in the line. With the seed action system, special injection gold frame, simple design and easily accessible accessories, it feels as safe as a Gundam Mark II in any grade within the Seed Freedom roster. Yet, that's exactly why it isn't higher in the list, because besides the Proud Defender and the large katana, it's functionally a downgraded Strike Freedom because the majority of the design concept is just reused from its roots. But it does have its place on the list because of the incredible straight build looks, the double molding on the blade, and the gimmicks being easily accessible, especially the disruptor and sliding wing panels. I'd still say you'd be better off getting the high-grade Strike Freedom Type 2 if you want more gimmicks, since this list took so long to make, but the high-grade Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam is no slouch either. Moving on to number 8, there's the high-grade Bully Nok Saman. Don't worry, I'm not pulling out any more wordplay here. Though the thing with Despair is that had it been produced with the others of its family, it would never have gotten the treatment it did today. Basically all of the color details were present, the articulation is fair for a weird design like this, and the unique accessories were all translated and easily accessible. They're fairly basic compliments, but the things that got me are how Bandai went out of the way to make it in the first place, and then having gone as far as to make even the recesses with plastic. It basically proves to Bandai that taking the risk to make designs that don't conform to the universal standard is also well worth it, though the laws of physics will beg to differ, which is the one thing holding it down at the bottom of the list. Similarly at number 7, we have the high-grade Gundam EX. I still don't gel with the design, but that doesn't stop me from admiring the kit. It used to be that we needed a sophisticated build to achieve hyper-detailed kits, something like real grades or higher-end master grades, but now even high grades can give them a run for their money at the fraction of the difficulty. The high-grade Gundam EX is one such kit, and thanks to the unique build as a result of producing the detail, the generic loadout that is easy to use is more of a non-issue. Even then, it's still not that difficult to build. Granted, I've had a few nitpicks for it during my review, especially the stickers on the rifle and shield that put a dent in the otherwise fantastic aesthetics. However, that still didn't stop me from being a great kit just for the experience alone. Number 6 goes to someone who thinks they deserve to be at the top, the high-grade Black Knight Squad Karura. The others just don't cut it because of the loosening backpack or structural issues, but even though this misnomer of a kit has more parts than its underlings, it doesn't suffer from any loosening part issues or anything like that. The parts count has all gone into replicating the golden trims in plastic, as well as fully producing all of its displayed features from the movie, including enough beam effects to have all of its dragoons extend their beam blades. However, ironically, this kit still isn't free from loose parts and color separation issues, the former merely being the sword storage being awkward and dodgy, which is the least of my concerns, as all of the purple besides the crotch crest is replicated with stickers, and considering how large those areas are, it would have been far better to use plastic pieces instead. However, should that not be an issue for you, then this Strike Freedom knockoff can comfortably sit at this spot. The next 2 spots are a toss-up with each other, starting with the high-grade G-Line Standard Armor. Initially, I felt nothing towards the G-Line as I didn't know what it had to offer, but having messed with the kit itself, I was pleasantly surprised how much fun I've had with it despite its generic loadout. Granted, it's the core Gundam enthusiast in me talking, but having taken a similar approach to adopt a full armor system to the kit, it's quite an addictive pickup and play experience. That's without mentioning the added mechanisms to circumvent the armor's potential obstructions and the fantastic base body, possessing a solid, flexible structure and looking great while doing so. Honestly, you don't have to be a core Gundam fan to enjoy this one since it is great in spite of that comparison. Following that at number 4, there's the high-grade Murasame Kai. Seed is known for taking things to unfathomable levels, yet the grunts are kept as simple as possible. This is how the high-grade Murasame Kai manages to captivate me thanks to its simple design that didn't require much added work to look accurate. Besides that, the articulation and accessories are fairly standard, but the transformation is the major highlight, since it is far simpler compared to any high-grade parts former despite it being a Zeta Gundam knockoff. I never really liked how tedious some of those processes can get sometimes, but the Murasame Kai manages to make it short and sweet while minimizing excess parts that need to be stored away, making the kit easily enjoyable on all fronts in both modes. If there's one kit I would strongly recommend from Seed Freedom, it had to be this one. Number 3 is the kit I've had the most fun with, the high-grade Infinite Justice Gundam Type 2. Sure, you may argue that it uses the same philosophy as the Mighty Strike Freedom and that my melee bias is talking. And while they're true, the Infinite Justice Gundam Type 2 actually adds onto the base on paper instead of taking things away. Pop culture references and explicit jokes aside, the Type 2 has a fiercer design, further improved articulation with a solid structure supporting it, and a ton of weapons and beam effects to use them all, besides the creativity in the way they've added more beam blades to the kit in the first place. One of the reasons I'm into melee more is because they don't require imagination to bring to life, and with the objective merit and creativity put into the Infinite Justice Gundam Type 2, it is undeniable that it is one of my most recommended kits of the year. The runner-up is also a melee kit, that being the high-grade Dragon Gundam. I mean, besides accusing me like a broken record, the high-grade Future Century Dragon Gundam is actually one of the best ones to come out of the new G Gundam kits. Color choices look great, proportions look sharp and stylized, but the kit excels in 2 different ways. The color separation is unreal, replicating all of the color outs without any need for future editions, especially the eyes on the dragon heads. Meanwhile, the accessories are very comprehensive, having parts for literally everything hinted in the anime. 6 flagpoles with enough flag effect parts, arm extensions, and especially those beautiful butterfly wings, with a green action base to enable aerial displays. Granted, the original gimmick is a bit gratuitous, but I appreciate that one all the same. If you want to have a well-made kit that has more effect parts than sense, this is the one to buy. Lastly, the champion of the year is of course a real grade. And what am I saying? It's definitely the real grade Akatsuki. Sure, the legs drop down a tiny bit, but if you can't be a real modeler and fix the issues yourself, you may as well just leave the house. Okay, for real, there's no question that the champion of the year is the real grade RX-78-2 Gundam 2.0. Looks are subjective, as the PG Unleashed design may not be for everyone, but it is undeniable the engineering that went into this kit made this the best redux we can ask for. The inner frame is intricate and display worthy all on its own. Meanwhile, the actual kit looks phenomenal, articulation is flexible, fluid and sturdy like an action figure, and while the weapons are off the classic loadout, none of them are trouble to set up. Meanwhile, a similar thing can be said for the gimmicks, them being relatively trouble-free to access as well. Sure, it's not the easiest of real grades to build, but this is a demonstration of what happens when Bandai goes all out when making a kit, especially one worthy of carrying the franchise's celebration on its back. And that wraps it up for my top 10 Gunpla from 2024, but that doesn't mean others haven't come close. Stuff like the Ultron Gundam and the Gelgoog Menace were up there just for being generally good kits, and a similar thing can be said for the high-grade Lifrith pre-production model and the high-grade Black Knight Squad Rudra. The new GATX kits would also have been considered had it not been for some obvious shortfalls. And honestly, I really am sorry for taking so long to get this list done, since I've had and still have a lot of things going on in my life, particularly moving into the new family house and finding a new job. But I hope that despite the list being 11 months late, it's still able to shed light on what kits of 2024 that I've built are my strongest recommendations. And that's all for me. Thank you all for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and a special thank you to the channel members, credits in the description below. I would also like to extend a special thank you to everybody who sat here waiting for 11 months for this freaking list to come out. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys, bye bye.